The champagne flute shattered against the marble floor, sending shards skittering like accusations across the room. I stood frozen, my heart pounding as I watched Kira, my best friend's sister, the woman I'd buried deep in my past, lean in and kiss my fiancé right there in the middle of our engagement party. The room spun, guests gasping, but all I could think was how this one moment unraveled everything I'd built to hide who I really was. My mind raced back to that summer in college, when Kira and I first crossed paths at a campus rally for LGBTQ rights. She was bold, unapologetic, with a fire in her eyes that drew me in like a moth to flame. I was Kayla, the straightest student from a conservative Texas family, pretending my crushes on girls were just phases. But Kira saw through it. "You're not fooling anyone but yourself," she'd whispered one night after we'd stayed up talking until dawn. That was the start, the secret glances, the stolen touches in empty lecture halls. I told myself it was experimentation, nothing more. Yet every time she smiled at me, my world tilted. The party noise faded into a dull roar as I confronted the scene. My fiancée, Sarah, pulled away from Kira, her face pale with shock. "Kayla, it's not what it looks like," she stammered, but her eyes betrayed the lie. Kira met my gaze, unflinching, a mix of defiance and regret swirling in those blue depths. How had she ended up here? Last I'd heard, she was in New York living openly while I stayed in Chicago building a normal life. My parents were beaming earlier, toasting to my future with Sarah. A safe choice, a woman who fit the mold they'd approve of, even if our relationship felt more like a comfortable routine than passion. But now this. I grabbed Kira's arm, pulling her into the hallway away from prying eyes. "What the hell are you doing?" I hissed, my voice trembling. She didn't flinch. "Saving you from a mistake," she said softly. "You think I don't know you're still hiding? Sarah told me everything. How you've been distant, how you talk about me in your sleep." My stomach dropped. Sarah knew? About us? The betrayal hit like a punch. I'd confided in her once, drunk on wine, passing it off as ancient history. But Kira being here, invited by my best friend as a surprise, felt like sabotage. Inside I was a storm. Why did Kira have to reappear now, when I'd finally convinced myself I could live this lie? My family, devout, traditional, would never understand. Dad's voice echoed in my head. "Marriage is between a man and a woman, but if you insist on this path, at least make it respectable." He tolerated Sarah because she came from money, had a good job. But Kira? She was the embodiment of everything they feared. Outspoken, tattooed, unashamedly queer. Loving her had cost me friendships back then. Pursuing her now could cost me my family. We argued in whispers, the party murmur seeping through the door. "You left me," I accused. "You said I wasn't ready." Kira's eyes softened. "You weren't. But look at you now, engaged to someone you don't love, just to please everyone else." Her words sliced deep because they were true. Sarah was kind, stable, but she didn't make my pulse race like Kira did. The kiss I'd witnessed wasn't just betrayal. It was a mirror to my own suppressed desires. How long had Sarah and Kira been talking? Was this revenge or something more twisted? As guests began whispering, my phone buzzed. "Mom texting. What's going on? People are leaving." Panic surged. I had to fix this, salvage the evening. But deep down a voice whispered, "Why? Why keep pretending?" Kira touched my hand. Electric. "Choose yourself, Kayla. For once." I pulled away, storming back into the room, announcing a minor misunderstanding. Laughter resumed, forced and hollow. But inside, the fracture lines were spreading. Sarah avoided my eyes. Kira lingered in the shadows. That night, alone in bed while Sarah slept on the couch, I stared at the ceiling, questioning every decision. Was safety worth the suffocation? The party ended, but the real chaos had just begun. The next morning, sunlight streamed through our apartment windows, mocking the turmoil in my chest. Sarah sat across from me at the kitchen table, coffee untouched. "It was a mistake," she said, tears welling. "Kira and we connected at your friend's gathering last month. She understands things you won't talk about." Understands? Like my hidden sexuality, the one I'd boxed away after college? I wanted to scream that Kira was my past, but the words stuck. Instead I asked, "Do you love her?" Sarah's silence was answer enough. Betrayal twisted into something uglier, jealousy. Not for Sarah but for what Kira represented: freedom. I called in sick to work, unable to face the corporate grind where I played the perfect executive. My boss would understand, she always did. But as I paced the living room, memories flooded. Kira and I in that dingy dorm, her laughter echoing as we debated politics. "Society's chains are only as strong as you let them be," she'd say. I admired her then, envied her courage. My family had drilled obedience into me: good grades, good job, good marriage. Coming out wasn't an option. It was a detonation. Dad's sister had been disowned for less. Kira texted, "We need to talk." Coffee. I hesitated, fingers hovering. What good would it do? But curiosity, or was it longing? 1. We met at a quiet cafe in Wrigleyville, the kind with mismatched chairs and indie music. She looked effortless in jeans and a leather jacket, while I felt overdressed in my blouse. "Why kiss her?" I demanded. Kira sighed. "To force your hand. You're miserable, Kayla." "I see it." "Miserable? Maybe. But stable." "You don't get to decide for me," I snapped. Yet her presence stirred old flames, making me question if stability was just another word for cage. Our conversation stretched, delving into the years apart. She'd built a life in activism, fighting for queer rights in the courts. I envied that purpose. "Your family's hold on you is toxic," she said. "They love a version of you, not the real one." Tears pricked my eyes. She was right, but breaking free meant war. As we parted, her hug lingered too long, awakening dormant feelings. Back home, Sarah packed a bag. "I think we need space," she said. Space? Or an end? Alone again, I wondered if this was the price of truth. The day blurred into night, my mind a battlefield of what-ifs. The following week dragged like a sentence. Work meetings blurred, my focus shattered by endless replays of that kiss. Colleagues noticed. "You okay, Kayla?" But I brushed it off with smiles. Inside, doubt gnawed. Sarah had moved to a friend's, leaving the apartment echoing with absence. Her texts were polite, distant. "We should talk soon." But what was there to say? Our engagement was a facade, built on mutual convenience rather than fire. Kira's re-entry exposed the cracks. My phone rang. "Mom. Honey, what's this I hear about drama at the party? Your aunt said people were whispering." I swallowed hard, fabricating a story about a tipsy guest. She bought it, but her tone held suspicion. "You and Sarah are perfect together. Don't mess it up." Perfect. The word choked me. Growing up in our suburban Dallas home, perfection meant straight A's, church on Sundays, and dating boys like the neighbor's son. When I brought home my first girlfriend in secret during high school, the guilt nearly broke me. I ended it before anyone found out, vowing to conform. Kira called that evening. "Meet me at the park?" Her voice was a lifeline in the storm. I went, drawn despite myself. Lincoln Park buzzed with joggers and families, a stark contrast to my inner chaos. She sat on a bench feeding ducks, looking serene. "I didn't mean to hurt you," she started. "But seeing you with her, it reminded me of us." The word hung heavy. In college, we'd been electric: late-night drives, whispered confessions. But when my parents visited, I introduced her as a friend. The hurt in her eyes that day still haunted. "You chose them over me," she said now, voice cracking. "I had to." Did I? Or was it fear? We walked, words tumbling out. She spoke of her own battles, coming out to a supportive but distant family, facing workplace discrimination as a lawyer. "It's not easy, but it's real." Real. My life felt scripted. As the sun set, our hands brushed, sending sparks. "What if we tried again?" she asked. Temptation surged, but so did terror. My career in finance demanded discretion. Outing myself could cost promotions, clients, and family. Unthinkable. Yet denying this felt like dying slowly. That night, alone, I scrolled through old photos. Kira and me at pride events, hidden in crowds. Happiness stared back, unfiltered. Sarah's call interrupted. "I'm seeing Kira." The admission floored me. "What?" "We connected." "She's everything you're afraid to be." Rage boiled, betrayal from both. But beneath it, envy. They were free to explore what I suppressed. I hung up, tears flowing. Was this karma for my cowardice? The mirror reflected a stranger, poised but empty. Change loomed, demanding a price. Days later, at a family dinner via video call, my parents insisted on weekly check-ins. The facade cracked further. Dad boasted about my upcoming wedding, while Mom probed about Sarah's absence. Just busy, I lied. But guilt festered. Kira's words echoed, choose yourself. After the call, I texted her. Dinner tomorrow? It was a step into the unknown, heart racing with possibility and dread. We met at a cozy Italian spot in the Loop, candles flickering like uncertain futures. Conversation flowed. Politics, dreams, regrets. I never stopped thinking about you, she confessed. Me neither, but admitting it felt like treason to my life. As wine loosened tongues, she leaned in. What are you so afraid of? Everything. Losing my parents' love, societal judgment, my carefully curated world. But her eyes promised worth it. We parted with a chaste kiss on the cheek, but it ignited embers. Home I lay awake weighing costs. Betraying my truth for peace, or embracing it for turmoil. The next blow came at work. My boss pulled me aside. Rumors about your personal life. Clients are conservative. Keep it clean. How had word spread? Sarah? Kira? Paranoia gripped. I confronted Sarah over coffee. You told people? She shook her head. No, but maybe it's time you did. Her sympathy stung. She and Kira were dating now, openly. Jealousy twisted, but also admiration. They didn't hide. Why couldn't I? Family pressure mounted. Mom called, excited about wedding plans. We've booked the church. Church. The hypocrisy burned, me in a white dress, vowing before a God I'd questioned since realizing my attractions. Mom, about that. I started but choked. Hanging up, shame washed over. Kira texted. You deserve better. Did I? Or was I doomed to this half-life? Weeks blurred into a haze of indecision. Kira and I met sporadically, each encounter deepening the pull. One evening, walking by the lake, she stopped. I can't keep doing this halfway. Either in or out. Ultimatum. My chest tightened. Choosing her meant confrontation. Rejecting her, loneliness. Give me time, I pleaded. But time was a luxury. Sarah's engagement ring sat in a drawer, a symbol of failure. That night, dreams tormented. Parents disowning, friends vanishing. Waking, resolve hardened. I had to face it. The confrontation brewed like a storm. I drove to my parents' house in the suburbs, a 3-hour trek from Chicago that felt eternal. Radio chatter faded against my racing thoughts. What would I say? I'm gay and I've been lying? The words tasted foreign. Kira offered to come, but this was mine to bear. Call me after, she'd said, squeezing my hand. Her support was a balm, but fear clawed. Arriving, the familiar ranch-style home loomed, manicured lawn mocking my disarray. Mom hugged me tightly. Surprise visit? Everything okay? Dad eyed me from his recliner. You look tired, kiddo. Dinner was tense, small talk, work, weather. Post-meal, I gathered courage. I need to talk. Their faces shifted to concern. Sarah and I were over. Mom gasped. Why? Deep breath. Because I'm in love with someone else. A woman. Kira. Silence exploded. Dad's face reddened. What are you saying? The argument erupted. Mom cried. This is a phase. You've always been normal. Normal. The word stung. Dad thundered about sin, family shame. We raised you better. I countered with tears. This is me. Hiding it is killing me. Flashbacks hit. Childhood crushes suppressed. Prayers for fixing. Kira's influence shone. Love isn't sin, but they didn't hear. Get out until you come to your senses, Dad said. Driving away, sobs racked me. The price, exile. Kira waited at my apartment. How bad? I collapsed into her arms. They hate me. She held me. They hate the idea. Give time. But time healed nothing immediately. Work suffered, focus gone. Colleagues whispered, news of my breakdown spread. A client pulled out, citing personal instability. Professional cost mounting. Yet with Kira, moments of peace. We cooked together, shared stories. Her strength bolstered mine. Society changes slow, but we fight. Social backlash hit next. Friends divided, some supportive, others distant. My best friend, Kira's brother, called. You hurt Sarah, but if you're happy. Ambivalence. At a queer support group Kira dragged me to, I shared my story. Strangers nodded, empathizing. Coming out is war, one said. Validation soothed, but wounds festered. Mom texted sporadically. Praying for you. Dad silent. Moral dilemmas swirled. Was honoring myself selfish? Betraying family values? Kira and I grew closer, navigating new terrain. Dates in hidden spots, fearing judgment. One night at a bar, a stranger sneered. Dykes. Kira stood tall, I shrank. Why hide? She asked later. Shame lingered. But her love chipped at it. We discussed futures, marriage, kids. Dreams once impossible. Yet doubt crept. Was this worth the pain? Sarah moved on, happy with another. Envy faded to acceptance. A turning point. Dad called. Come home. We talk. Hope flickered. Kira encouraged. Go. The visit was awkward. Mom hugged stiffly. Dad admitted. I don't understand, but you're my daughter. Progress. Tears flowed. I love Kira. They listened, not agreeing but hearing. Seeds of change. Driving back, lightness bloomed. Sacrifices paid dividends. But society pushed back. At work, a promotion bypassed me. Image issues, boss hinted. Discrimination veiled. Kira raged. Sue them. But exhaustion won. I quit, seeking queer-friendly firms. Reinventions cost. Uncertainty. With Kira we built routines, walks, movies. Intimacy emotional, deep. Her past betrayals forgiven, mine too. Moral quandaries deepened. Was outing myself ethical if it hurt others? Family therapy suggested, but Dad resisted. God will guide. Faith clashed with identity. Kira's atheism challenged. Live your truth. Balancing acts. Friends' weddings excluded us, subtle rejection. Pain sharpened resolve. High tension peaked at a family reunion invite. Bring Kira. Mom asked tentatively. Test. We went nerves raw. Relatives stared, whispered. Aunt cornered me. This phase disappoints. Kira defended. It's not a phase, it's love. Clash ensued. Dad intervened. Enough. Small victory. Home we debriefed. Worth it? I asked. Always, she said. Bonds strengthened through fire. Months passed, scars healing unevenly. Kira and I moved in together. A cozy loft in Boys Town surrounded by acceptance. Mornings with coffee, her head on my shoulder. Bliss amid chaos. But shadows lingered. Work search dragged. Rejection cited fit. Discrimination sting. Keep fighting, Kira urged. Her job thrived. Advocating for LGBTQ rights. Inspiration. I volunteered at her firm, finding purpose. Family thawed slowly. Mom visited, awkward but trying. Tell me about her. Stories shared. Walls crumbled. Dad emailed articles on acceptance, progress. But holidays tense, unspoken judgments. Moral tightrope. Forgive or distance. Kira pushed forgiveness. Hate poisons. Wise but hard. Social conflicts arose. At a protest for trans rights we marched hand in hand. Empowerment surged. But counter-protesters yelled slurs. Fear gripped, Kira stood firm. This is our fight. Her courage shamed my hesitance. Post-event debrief. I almost ran. She smiled. But you didn't. Growth. Betrayals revisited. Sarah reached out. I'm sorry. Coffee meet. I pushed you out, she admitted. Forgiveness granted. Closure. Happy with Kira? Yes. Unequivocally. Her new relationship flourished. No grudges. Internal storms raged. Nights doubting, was this right? Society's voice echoed. Abnormal, sinful. Therapy helped unpack. Trauma from suppression, counselor said. Sessions raw, exposing wounds. Kira attended some, strengthening us. We're in this together. A major clash. Dad's health scare. Hospital rush. I love you no matter what, he whispered. Turning point. Post-recovery, deeper talks. I was wrong. Tears. Reconciliation's price. Vulnerability. Mom joined pride events tentatively. Change incremental. Professional breakthrough. New job at inclusive firm. Colleagues celebrated my identity. Relief. But past costs, lost friends, opportunities haunted. Worth it? Kira asked. Nodding yes. Freedom's flavor sweet. Drama intensified with external threat. Kira's case against discriminatory employer drew media. Threats arrived. Announce online calls. Fear mounted. Back down. No. Solidarity. We fortified community support swelling. Tension built resilience. Personal awakening. I proposed to Kira on a lakeside picnic. Through hell, you're my heaven. Yes, tears. Joy amid adversity. Family invited to wedding. Mixed responses. Mom excited. Dad hesitant. Moral debate. Include them? Yes, for healing. Planning amplified conflicts. Venue denied service subtly. Booked. Discrimination lawsuit considered. Society's ugliness exposed. Kira fears. We'll win. Determination fueled. Invites sent. RSVPs divided. Old friends returned apologetic. Growth circles. Wedding day dawned bright. Nerves electric. Venue secured after advocacy victory. Guests mingled, family present. Dad walked me down aisle, eyes misty. Proud. Heart swelled. Vows exchanged, raw emotion. You taught me courage, I told Kira. Her smile radiant. Reception buzz, dances, toasts. Mom hugged Kira. Welcome. Acceptance bloomed. Post-honeymoon life settled. Careers thrived. Family bonds mended. But reflections lingered. Choices costs. Pain loss but gains immense. Society evolved slowly. Our story contributed. Yet questions persisted. In quiet moments I pondered ethics. Was forcing change selfish? Or necessary? Kira's view. Truth liberates. Mine evolved. Years later, mentoring young queer women, I shared our tale. Embrace yourself, pay the price. Inspiration sparked. Legacy. But one query haunts. In a world of judgment, is hiding for peace ever justifiable? Or always a betrayal of self?